Hello everyone, welcome back for day 4 in our lesson on abundant faith. We left off yesterday talking a little bit about what it means to follow Jesus, and that part of following Jesus is going to be following him into some storms, and that he uses those storms to teach us to trust in him and to grow our faith in him. So we're going to kind of continue in that vein again today as well. And so one of the most important things to remember when we're going through a storm is that Jesus is always in the boat with us. He is always in the boat with us. The boat that Jesus occupies with us may be many different things. It could be a prison cell. It could be the emergency room. It could come in the form of a pink slip, or it could come in the form of a surgeon's report. It could come so many different ways, and we've probably all had some things come to our mind just now of how storms have come into our life. The storm may sweep through our life, bring unspeakable grief, whatever the situation is, but Jesus is always in the boat with us. No matter what it is, no matter what's going on, he is always there with us, and he still has the power to still that storm just as quickly as it started. Our faith in God during times of trouble is what brings us to a new level of understanding his power. We don't really know for ourselves all that God is capable of until he demonstrates that power to us. We can read about it, and we can obviously have faith about it, and all of those things are good, and I'm not belittling those things at all. But when God wants to teach us something personally, he'll allow us to go through that storm just so we can see how much power he has. Maybe for something that he knows is coming down the road. We don't know what lies ahead, but Jesus does. The more seismic the storm, the more conspicuous the calm. In other words, the crazier the storm is, the even more noticeable it is when that storm suddenly stops. I'm sure you've probably all been through something recently. We're all going through craziness right now in the world that we live in. But there are things in our life that maybe seem to drag on for a long time, and it's just crazy. And then when it's finally over, it's just like, whoa, this is amazing. Look at what God has done. Over this last year, I can point to so many different things in my own life and just say, wow. I remember just praying for this, and it just seemed like I'm beating my head against a wall. But then to see the results is just, wow, God, you really are amazing. You really do have all this power. I really do need to trust you at your word, because you certainly follow through. One thing to remember about all of this and our storms is that fears that we face can be real or imagined. We may have rational fears, such as the disciples in this situation where they were rationally afraid of drowning. I don't think anyone would look at them, except Jesus, I guess, and say, this is irrational. You shouldn't be afraid of drowning in this crazy storm out in the middle of this lake and your boat's half full of water. You shouldn't be afraid to drown. We would probably all say, yeah, you guys had legit reason to be afraid. But then some of us would maybe point at somebody else's thing and say, why are you afraid of that? That's ridiculous. But maybe we're afraid of something that they think is ridiculous. It doesn't matter whether they're real fears or imagined fears. They're still fears to us. They're still fears to us. Both rational and irrational fears can have the same paralyzing effect. So we can be both rationally afraid of something and be scared, so scared that we won't move because of that thing. And we can be so scared of something that is just imagined or irrational that we're so afraid that we still can't move. Whether real or imagined, when you believe you're drowning in the sea, drowning in debt, drowning in despair, the feeling is still the same. Fear has torment. But the transparency of the Bible is always refreshing. It doesn't deny the reality that storms are going to come. It doesn't say that everything when we walk with Jesus is going to be perfect and smooth and all that crazy stuff, and then whack, here comes the storm. Oh man, yeah, I guess we didn't tell you that part. No, it's very clear. Jesus is very clear that this is what's going to come. This is what's going to happen. There are going to be things that come into your life that are difficult, but the most important part is, I am here with you. During the storm, when the disciples went to wake Jesus, Mark recorded them asking, "Don't you care that we are perishing?" The statement reveals something other than the fear of dying, and this was the fear of being abandoned in the storm. They were feeling abandoned. 12 grown men knew that they were helpless against the powers of nature, and the only one that could make a difference seemed indifferent to what was going on. He seemed like he didn't really care. He seemed like he wasn't paying attention. He was actually sleeping. How many times in our life have we wondered if God really cared about us? I know I can say without any doubt quite a few times we've wondered, God, do you even care? Like, do you see what's going on right now? Do you even care about this? And not even in this challenging way, just as much as, am I making too much out of this? Like, does this not matter to you? Is it just my problem? And whatever the situation may be, in storms of our life, God sometimes seems silent. Maybe we felt like we had to sound an alarm to get his attention, to yell, "God, are you there? Can you hear me? Do you understand what's going on in my life right now? Or do you just not care?" Sometimes we get to that place, and it's difficult enough to go out into a storm and to go through a storm, but when we feel like God has forsaken us, it just brings a crushing weight of despair, like just this hopelessness. There's nothing that we can do to get out of this. The outspoken Apostle Peter was in the boat that evening, and he shared the sentiments of those who asked, "Master, do you care if we're perishing?" Their faith was unanimously weak. All of them were weak in this moment. But on that day, unlike many others, the impetuous Simon became steadfast Cephas. He came to trust the one who was in the boat with them. Later, when Peter wrote his first letter, he made a statement about anxiety that was fitting of a fisherman. 1 Peter 5:7 says, "Casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you." He understood that Jesus cared for him. In the crucible of adversity, Peter learned that no matter the storm your life may be, you can cast your care upon the Lord. You may think Jesus is oblivious to your storm today, but think again. You can cast your care on the Lord, for he cares for you. Did you get that? He cares for us so much. He's in the boat with us, and he cares for you. I hope that you all have a blessed rest of your day or the evening, and you take care, and we'll see you again tomorrow.